Kings and Queens, welcome back. This is your boy John Pat, and we are here at the Sharpn Still Show Season 4, a place where black excellence meet black mediocrity, and once again, we're just displaying black victory. Once again, big bro. So talk to me.
It's your boy, Mr. Love is Love. Family, if you didn't do it already, please hit that subscribe button. You know, whatever you take from us, you learn and you grow with it. Whatever we take from you, we learn and we grow with it as well. Like, comment, and share, guys.
Powerful episode right here. We're going to be talking about detoxing small-minded people.
Right,
we have our new guest right here. Introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are.
Hi, guys. I'm Mo. That's short for Monique. I am creator and host of your Mental Matters podcast. And yeah, I'm a mental health professional. I'm in the field, and I'm also just passionate about mental health overall. So
beautiful.
I was excited to be here.
Thank you.
Of course.
Absolutely.
And to that point too, how is your mental? Like, you know,
right.
A lot of I even heard in your podcast too about mental check-in. So like, we always try to ask people how's your mental. So I go down, like me personally, 0 to 10, I'm at like a 7.5 average. You know, but how's your mental?
I would say right now, I guess I'm at like a 7-8.
Okay.
I feel like I'm always like kind of flustered. I got a lot going on all the time, so like I always kind of be like disheveled. But I mean, as far as like things going on in my life, I feel like I'm good. I can't complain too much. So yeah.
Listen, we said we can't complain too much. So I hope you're serious now, girl.
No, I'm serious. I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I feel good right now.
No, that's good.
You know, I'm happy to be here. So.
I feel that.
Amazing. Well, for me personally, you know, Mr. Love is Love. You know, I can't complain at all. It's another day, another beautiful day, and we just gonna rock and roll.
We're gonna rock and roll. So this episode, like I said, is about detoxing small-minded people. So
Right.
how would you detect a small-minded person? Like, how would you call that out to say this person is small-minded?
Amazing.
Because for me, I feel like when people are small-minded, they don't think outside of the box. So what is it for you?
Yeah, I agree with that point. But to add, I guess people who are negative, like they're more glass half empty versus full, because I feel like when your mind is more expanded, you're able to just look at a situation from all angles. Like, okay, like, you know, like, this is not the worst case scenario. Like there can be another outcome. Like people who maybe are more small-minded might just focus on like this one issue versus like looking at like, okay, this is going on, but what are the solutions? Like, how can I fix this? Like, what are my options? You know? So that's, for me, I guess that would be one example.
Okay, no, that's amazing that you say that, you know, because a lot of people was definitely small-minded in a sense, and we have to hold ourselves accountable at all times for that, you know. But how can we encourage the people, you know, help the Still community understand how can we encourage the people to be more open-minded to the unknowns, you know, to try to figure out what those possibilities are?
I mean, I think it takes practice, because it's like, that's not second nature. I mean, that's like, some people are just used to, depending on how you grew up or just your environment, what you've been around, what you've been exposed to, that might be all you know, is to just like harp on the negativity. But I think it takes practice. Like so I think communicating like, okay, with people in your life, like, okay, this is what's going on. And then having people that can help you and like point things out to you, like, hey, like you mentioned this, or you was looking at it this way, but what about this as an option? And kind of getting into the practice of like reflecting and checking yourself and checking your thought pattern,
monitoring yourself.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Before I give my brother the floor, I just wanted to just jump on the point that you said about just being a product of your environment, you know, because it's like that phrase itself, just being a product of your environment, is just like, it's like, to me, you know, I don't necessarily embrace it too much, only because, and I don't disregard it either, family. You know why? Because at the end of the day, people go through what they go through, you know, and the environment that they come from causes for that. Right. However, it's like, it's up to you to, you know what I'm saying, be strong enough to get through it. You know, a lot of people's not able to, but there's people out there that do. You feel me? So it's like, I don't like to use that phrase, like product of your environment and everything. It's just, we're much stronger than that.
But why does that throw you off that?
Because we're much stronger than that.
Okay. So do you fault somebody for not controlling their environment, not being self-aware of their surroundings and who's around them? And this is open for everybody, you know.
Would you like to start? Ladies first.
Oh, me? Let's see. Can you repeat that question?
Like, so he spoke about, he feels like product of the environment. He doesn't like the phrase. So when I think about that, I think about creating a like-minded environment around you and being self-aware of your surroundings. But some people know who's around them and they just not, like, if you get what I'm saying, they just keeping it how they being comfortable.
For sure. I mean, I think, we, at the end of the day, us as individuals, we can only control ourselves, right? But at the same time, like, if you have a vision for your life, if you have, you know, different things that you want, like, if you just want certain energy around you, if you want a certain type of environment, like, you would have to kind of create that. So if there's people that, say if there's, like, family members, right, for example, you can't really control who your family is.
Right.
If you're brought up in a household with certain people who are negative and do things that maybe, or whatever you deem negative, right, and things that maybe you're not drawn to, but you continue to, you know, spend time with them, hang out with them all the time, even though you do have other options. You know, you don't have to, just because you this is your family doesn't mean you have to be with them all the time, do everything that they do. You have control over that. So in one sense, it's like you can control it, but sometimes it takes work. It's not just a thing where, you know, snap your fingers and, all right, I want to be out of this environment, in this situation, so, you know.
And just to stay on that point too, before Big Bro go, I think sometimes when you speak about family, it's that love that always be that barrier for people to cut them off.
Right.
You ever experienced that? Like, you have somebody that you love, but they not growing where you at?
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, I mean, because if you love someone, right, you're not going to intentionally hurt their feelings or just be like, you're not on my level, you're not growing where I'm at, so I'm cutting you off. You're not going to do that. At least for me, I'm not going to do that. But I have to, once I recognize it, I have to move accordingly. I have to figure out, okay, what's best for me? Even though I love you, I'm not going to jeopardize myself by constantly exposing myself or being around, like, you know, because there's people, I mean, we've heard it, like, there's some people who are leeches. Like, some people are not even self-aware of how they coming off and what they're doing to kind of bring down your energy. And so once you recognize it, then you just kind of have to move, like, accordingly. You know, you just have to, like, you know, you got to love yourself
enough
first.
First,
and then love other people.
Because when you love yourself, it's like, I love myself, so I don't want to have that around me.
Yep.
And that's a beautiful point. You know, just both of you guys stated beautiful points. I just wanted to add and piggyback on what Mo said in regards to, well, as well as Big Bro, in regards to family. You know, because not to be too specific, but my little brother be bugging. Just to be real honest, you know. But it's just like going back to the environment, right? It's definitely a double-edged sword. You know, it's two sides to the story at the end of the day. On one side, you could have a really good environment, but still be on bullshit timing. On the other side, you could have a bad environment and be strong enough to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what it is. And I really applaud both of you guys for bringing up the family part about it. Because me personally, I just feel like I try to speak to my little brother. I try to help him understand certain things, but he still tends to lead towards the, how can I say it, not too much negative, but things that just doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
But this is why I wanted to tie in too, because I think when it comes to detox, a small-minded person is a person that, of course, they may not be self-aware, but they just don't know how to grow, or they just avoid it. So in that situation, and both y'all too, is it avoiding growth? Because sometimes people avoid growth. They don't want to try to get better.
Because we can tend to make people aware of things, but then they choose to avoid it. Like, is at the end of the day, you have a decision to make. You know what I'm saying? You have a decision to make. So I feel like Big Bro, 100%.
So let me ask you, like, you know, because I feel like we're all human and we all have emotions. So what do you do to keep a positive mindset all the time? Right. Just in general, like keeping that positivity around you. Like, what do you do to keep that? Because at the end of the day, you wear a lot of hats. You have your mental health podcast matters. You have a lot of work. You know, we all have life be life. You know what I'm saying? So how do you continue?
Masters.
Yeah, you feel what I'm saying?
Shout outs to Mo.
Yeah.
She's about to get her master's.
That's black excellence.
She's getting her master's.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So how you keep that positivity flowing?
I think I'm super self-aware, but I think, like I said, that came from practice. Like, I think if I feel like I'm getting too drained, because that's the thing, I'm not positive all the time, and that's a misconception.
Right.
Just because you're doing well and you have good things going on doesn't mean you're always going to feel positive and be positive all the time. But on the outside, it could look like that, right? And so I think, like, moments when I do feel like my energy is being drained, or I feel like, you know, not always up in spirits, I just practice self-care. which is I go get massages, I hang out with friends, you know, I travel. I like to travel. I do things that like make me happy, and I feel like, you know, that's where it comes into like, you know, tapping in with yourself, like really being able to say like, what do I like, or what do I need right now, right? Because, you know, like you guys mentioned, like when you do wear many hats, like sometimes you need to just take a break, like
Right.
you need a break, like. And so for me, like I give myself those breaks. I like to sleep. Like I could sleep a whole day. Like if I had, when I do have the time, I
Right.
stay in bed the whole day, sleep the whole day, and then when I get up, I feel good and I'm ready to get back to everything that I was doing before. So I think just knowing, you know, what it is for yourself that makes you feel good.
And that's the grace that you definitely give yourself. And I applaud you. More power to you for
Yeah,
giving
more power.
yourself
That's
that
fine.
grace.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
No, because it's like, me personally, I feel like I watched a podcast before, and it was pretty. I love referencing things, like for real. Just to let you know about me personally, I love referencing things.
Yeah.
But I was watching a podcast. I forgot which one specifically. But long story short, the guy said he used to be homeless. Now he's $1 million public speaker. You know. But long story short, he said he always said, when I get the time, I'm gonna do this. When I get the time, I'm gonna do that. But you understood that you need the time to self-care now in order for you to move forward and continue progressing and do the things that you want to do
Yeah.
in the long run, ultimately. So I definitely just want to applaud you and also add and say, how do you help your audience, like, well, express to your audience the needs and the goals of self-caring when you're on set?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part?
How do you express to your audience the needs or the importance,
Yeah.
you know, of self-caring when you're on set and when you're like speaking to your guests, or because you know it's a mental podcast.
Yeah, for sure. I think I make it a point to like just talk about it. I mean, if it's not every episode, it's frequently.
Right.
Like just to say like just talk about my personal experience, like what I do, and I like to give resources, of course, like things that you can do, suggestions, and I have guests on too. My show is a guest-based show, so like a lot of times the guests that come on, I have them share about what they do, you know, for self-care, and I'm big on therapy, so I'm always talking about therapy. I'm an advocate for therapy. I feel like I went to therapy. It was beneficial for me, so I feel like that's another avenue that people can take to like remain positive and to, you know, keep up with their, you know, just mental health and their stability and stuff. It's just having somebody that you could just spend like 45 minutes, whatever the time is, and just talk about
Everything.
Yeah, what you need to talk about.
I semi-second. I only say semi before I give the floor to my big bro. Only say semi-second because I talk about it so much. Like, therapy is a necessity. But I just have yet to go. I've been saying this since I was in high school. I said to my mom, like, I've been developing myself so much. I worked on myself so much, you know, personally.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily by myself. I have one or two people that I felt like were mentors to me, you know, and they weren't necessarily like older than me, you know, like probably like a year or two older than me, but like the things that they're doing, the things that they say and how they carry themselves is just, I want to emulate that.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So I just felt like when I was younger, I just always wanted to do more, always wanted to better myself, and I always wanted to become mentally strong and just more outspoken. So I said to my mom one time, I feel like I need to go to therapy. Like, I'm always anxious, always got anxiety. I feel like I want to say something, but I get nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I never really carried it out. So
Got you.
I applaud you. Like, I definitely applaud you. Like, for going to therapy now, for sure.
No, I applaud you though for your growth, because I mean, you don't. I don't see you as you chilling right now. You're not anxious at all. You don't feel, because that's the thing. People, I feel like I can be shy too with podcasting. I thought naturally I was a shy person, but then once I started podcasting, I feel like I'm like, am I really shy? Have I been shy all these years?
Right.
But I think you don't. I mean, I would have never thought, right?
I appreciate that. No, for real, because I'm not to just steal the floor, big bro. I'm about to give it to you.
Listen, this is a space where we just transparent.
We're gonna talk about the spaces too, because that's the space for you, you know? Like, we're gonna talk about them spaces. But long story short, you know, I like referencing things. Read a book. He was just saying to himself, like, for all these years, he felt like he was doing bad, and so much bad and negative things happened to him. But then when he like finally grew out of those negative environments and negative spaces, he really recollected and said it was like a year or two he was in those bad spaces. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we could feel like, damn,
It's forever.
It's forever.
And that should be feeling forever.
It do.
Forever,
But
so.
it's not even. It's just the time that's flowing. You know.
Right.
And that's why I always tell people, time will tell. You just gotta keep it flowing.
Yep.
You feel what I'm saying? But yeah.
I feel like, and going back to your point when you were saying about like self-care, me and my girlfriend talk about it all the time about bringing luxury to yourself. Like when it comes to the black community, black men, because I feel like black women do it a lot. You know, you guys take care of yourself a lot. You feel what I'm saying? When it comes to just black men, I feel like it's very important for us to tackle that, to make sure that, you know, we are, you know, getting a manicure, pedicure, doing things that make us happy. Like it could be anything that makes you feel happy. So let me ask you, when it comes to just creating certain boundaries, right, in terms of your mental health and making sure those negative small amount of people aren't around you, what do those certain boundaries look like for you?
Okay, one example I would say is saying no. I think for me, like, there was a period in my life where I was like a people pleaser. I had to really be like, I say yes, like a lot. To the people that I'm close to, like my close friends and stuff, I would say yes, I feel like too much, like to everything, even when I felt like it was kind of compromising what I had going on. So I feel like just saying no, which is like, it might sound small, but it's like, it can go a long way. Like, just learning how to be okay with the no and not like,
and for not feeling guilt. And I want to just continue on that because me personally, the type of person I am, I love to help people.
Yeah.
But I always see myself all the time saying yes, and then when I say no, I feel guilty about it.
Right.
So like having that control for yourself to be like no is very important for your sanity. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to piggyback on both of you guys' points and examples, I feel like having that self-control and freedom, you know, like that autonomy to be able to say, I can't do this right now. Like, not at this point. There's nothing wrong with that. 'Cause at a point, I have a lot of experiences where it's just like, I always wanted to be that person where it's like, I'm there. You know, like, I got your back. You know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the day, what does it really do for me ultimately?
Right.
You know, like, does it really give me the time to get my mind right, to get my life together, or do what I gotta do, like organize myself? You know, like I'm always helping somebody else organize what they gotta do, which is not a problem. We always gotta be helpful, you know. But it's like,
it's that balance.
It's the balance.
It's the balance.
Appreciate that, big dog. It's the balance. You know, it's like we always gotta work. We always gotta work in moderation. So I just wanted to tie this question in. How important is practicing consistent, constructive communication between you and your peers?
That's super important. I'm like, it's hard though. I'm not gonna lie. It's difficult. Like I said earlier, when you the more you do something, the easier it gets. But I think like, being able to just have that like transparent, authentic communication, whether it's about boundaries, whether it's about how something made you feel, if you didn't like something. And when things are good too, right? You don't, it don't always got to be like, all right, we having clear communication about things that are not going right. It could be like, yo, like, I love being around you, you know, like I like when we do, you know. So I think like it's important, but it's something that has to become a practice, because people like to say communication all day, but then don't really practice communication
or comprehend.
Right.
Damn.
Comprehension is, listen.
You sound like Beloved over here, because Beloved be like, you talk about communication, you can talk to Job, but you can't talk to me. Damn, all right, we gonna talk.
And also too, communicating with intent. Like, you know, being direct with what you're saying, that definitely gives that clear space for everyone. So I feel like sometimes with me, when I be communicating with people, I could like forget to communicate with intent, and it'd be a lot of confusion. And it happens, right? Like, I don't think communication isn't always smooth, but I think just doing the work, really, it takes work. Everything takes work, but doing that work and being like, okay, this communication, for some reason, something is getting lost in translation, so let's run it back. Let's try again. So going back to someone that you love, right? And you can see that they have that potential to grow. But you need to communicate with them so they can comprehend and understand, right? Take us there. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody that you love or somebody that you care about, and you was trying to communicate with intent the correct way, so they could understand where you're coming from, so they can move forward and progress? Because sometimes if it's somebody that you're really, really cool with, it'd be hard to approach them. You don't want to make them feel bad. It's that barrier, sensitivity. So have you ever experienced that before? For sure, I have. Like,
I was thinking about a recent situation that happened. I guess I won't go too much into
Yeah,
detail because it's my brother, right? My older brother. We were having a serious conversation. We haven't seen each other in a while, right? And like, he moved away. He still lives in New York, but he lives kind of far from where I'm at now.
Right.
And you know, growing up, we were close. You know, so I think like him, you know, moving out, having a, you know, he got a girlfriend. They live together. You know, this was the first time he came back around, and we were able to really like chop it up. And I, you know, learned that he was going through things, right, that I would have never thought. I'm his younger sister, so it was a thing where I guess I just wouldn't have assumed anything unless he came to me.
Right.
And then he, I guess, opened up to me. And then after, there was just a series of things that happened after the conversation that made me feel like I needed to communicate something directly to him, like ask him a question directly.
Right.
That was hard, right? Like I was like, I don't know no other way to communicate this but to just be direct.
I feel like
It's like one of those, like, you hurt my feelings.
right.
But I need to say what I have to say.
Right. I mean, it wasn't that specifically,
Yeah.
but it was just something that it felt uncomfortable. And it felt uncomfortable just because I'm his younger sister, he's my older brother, and I guess I just see him in a certain light. So it just felt like, I don't know how this conversation is going to go or how he is going to receive what I'm about to ask him, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I love him, right? And I care about him, and, you know, I want him to know that.
Right.
So, like, you know, I asked the question, and it was a great conversation. You know, I felt like it was authentic, it was transparent. I was nervous, I was anxious, but I still did it, and then it was a good outcome,
right.
You know? So I think sometimes those feelings of, like, being like torn and kind of feeling anxious, and I don't know if I should say this or not, sometimes when you do it, the outcome is just completely different from
It's
what
that overthinking, bro.
think
We all, especially me, I be in my head too much. I just be thinking about ahead of time, before, if I say this, he going. Sometimes it just be all in your head. You just gotta just express how you feel.
Yeah.
And if it come out how it come out, as long as you have that intent and you coming off genuine.
Yeah.
No, right. And definitely gotta say analysis paralysis is a motherfucker. You know, but at the same time, more power to you. I'm happy that you were able to get the opportunity to speak to your brother.
Yeah,
you know,
shout outs to him too.
You said it's been some time, so I'm happy to hear that you got the opportunity to speak to him and hear him express himself. You know, same time, it could be tough, you know, to let someone understand what they need to hear. You know, however, it's definitely important. You know, it's definitely important. It's like it's an act of selflessness.
Yeah.
You know, helping somebody, putting somebody else on, like, yo, I ain't gonna hold you. This is what you might be needing to do, or how do you feel about this? You know, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. But just it may be tough, but you just got to get it out.
Yeah.
You know, but I just wanted to ask you, like, would you consider, because this is so crazy, like, it's like every time Josh say a question, my question it pounds right in.
Gangster.
You know what I'm saying? That's why he's my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Love it.
But
yeah.
Would you consider a balance between vulnerability and selflessness is a possible way to result in more positive relationships?
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's dope. That's a question.
For sure. Vulnerability is a big one. Like, but that's probably one of the hardest things for people to do.
Oh yeah.
So
not to cut you.
Yeah.
I want you to continue.
Yeah.
Continue that train of thought. But you said transparency. When you said transparency, I said vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta hit you with that. You know.
No, for sure. Ability piece is what will, I feel like, strengthen or deepen a relationship or friendship, whatever it is. So vulnerability is big, and selflessness. When you say selflessness, what do you mean?
Like I said before, forgive me, family. Like I said before, just being able to put your people on about something. You know, helping them understand a vital piece that they're possibly missing. Because, you know, we could fill that void. You know what I'm saying? And just being able to help somebody is just being selfless. That act of helping is another way of being selfless.
No, I think too, when you're vulnerable with a person, that's how you can connect with them. Because they see you so at your bottom, not even at your bottom, but they see you being so genuine and transparent. It's like, you know what, I can share that too.
Yeah.
And then that's how you connect. You know what I'm saying? It's like you feel that energy sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to just stay genuine and you know, just come off real, because you gotta know who you're talking to too.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes if it's somebody that's like that don't take things harsh, you gotta come to them a little soft and gentle. If it's your brother that's a little more gritty, or your sister that's more gritty, you just gotta know your approach, know who you're speaking to, and know how to say certain things.
Right.
I feel the transparency and availability.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's about that time, B. It's about that time. It's that
Mo,
love.
it's a pleasure. Really appreciate you for making, because you could have been anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I really thank you for making it out here. So we got something special for you,
You
girl.
got something for me?
Something
Oh my
special.
God, thank you.
Yeah.
This is for you, still sharp and still, all right?
Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for having me, guys.
Definitely
I
open it up,
appreciate
show it to the family.
Oh, yeah.
Show it to the family, still sharp and still.
And listen, Still Sharp and Still called Let's Rap. We got a game for you.
You think she ready for it?
I don't know.
You think she ready for
I
it?
don't know. We're gonna put on. Listen, Still Sharp and Still Let's Rap. We play a beat, 5 words. You can tell the community what the 5 words is, so they can know.
Let them know.
Overcome, strength,
Mm-hmm.
control, positive, and easygoing.
Talk
All
about
right,
it.
so we're gonna play the beat. Try your best.
Talk about it.
Oh shit.
Oh my God. Okay. Wait, so I use all of them?
Yeah, you can use them in one sentence. Go ahead.
Let the beat drop.
Okay. Overcome, strength, control, positive, easygoing.
Uh-huh.
Whoa.
What we doing? All at one time.
Give her love. Give her love.
All at one
baby.
time. That was amazing.
Listen, before we even go further, I definitely want to talk about your mental health matters, your podcast, your journey.
Absolutely.
You wear a lot of hats. Does it bother you sometimes that you got to be consistent enough to pour into your mental health? Because at the end of the day, we're gonna work on ourselves forever, eternally, until we're not here no more. So does that bother you that we gotta be consistent with pouring into our mental health every single day?
It doesn't bother me, but it gets tiring.
It gets tiring.
That's a fire question. I love it.
Yeah, it's hard work, and it's like that's the thing. I feel like there's a misconception that just because you are tapped into mental health, or you're in the field or you're a mental health professional, that you don't struggle as well. So I think that bothers me when people think that I'm supposed to have it all together all the time. So I'm like, no, I'm a regular person, just like everybody else.
Nah, I feel that.
So I think that's the part where it really that bothers me a little bit, and then I have to let people know, like, no, I need a minute.
Yeah, I'm still human.
Right.
So talk about your journey with your podcast. Tell because we big on Black Victory.
Facts.
So the way we came across, obviously, he actually found you, and I reached out. So we big on Black Victory, and not networking up, networking around it. So talk about your journey and how has that been for you, and
For sure. Okay, well, before I get into that, I want to say this beautiful logo and merch that I have on. My bro over there, Tariq,
My boy.
Yeah, he actually designed my logo for the podcast and everything. So I had to, just shout him out.
More power to Tariq. Let's go.
Yes.
More power.
Say keep it in the family.
in the house.
Yeah, and so as far as the podcast goes, I started podcasting when I was in college, in undergrad.
Right.
I minored in media and communications. My major was psychology, and so I kind of got into just like talk radio podcasting because we had one on campus. And so like as a part of my like internship or whatever it was that we had to accumulate for like the degree, I had to like go on this radio show.
Right.
And we talked about like mental health, substance abuse, things that happen on campus and stuff like that. And then I was like, wow, like I think something kind of clicked, and I was like, oh shoot, I think that I like this.
You can do this,
yeah,
right?
I think I like it.
I feel that.
Like it kind of was just like like from just doing that radio show that I didn't even initially like want to do or intend on doing, right? And so then I was like, you know what? I just kept doing it. Like I actually started my podcast with a co-host, with a male co-host. He was a criminology major, so like criminal psych. So it was kind of like a duality. We talked a lot about like Black mental health and just the prison system and his personal experience, and then I just talked about from the mental health angle, my viewpoint, my experience. But then when we graduated, like we weren't consistent. Like he was, it was hard collaborating and connecting. So I was a solo act.
Did he relocate?
No, like he's from Queens. He still lives in Queens. Like we could have kept it going, but I don't know if that was like podcasting and talking all the time was his thing. You know,
that's one of the terrors of having a partner sometimes, I guess.
Yeah. And so I was passionate enough about it to where I felt like I could do it by myself, but it was hard, right? Like I started from, I was on SoundCloud initially, like, you know, and just kind of kept doing it. Then I was, you know, started finding, you know, other podcasts, listening to other podcasts, networking. Networking was big. Like if you went to college, or 4 year, 2 year, whatever. You know that networking is big, like, you know, sometimes even it gets you in more doors than like having a degree, right? So I found my way into networking events, met other podcasters, found my way into podcasting events, and then I started, you know, just getting into collabing. I was like, I'm a solo act, but I want a guest-based show. I knew that's what I wanted. I didn't want it to just be me talking all the time. I wanted to get the thoughts of other people. Because mental health, I feel like, is a community thing. I don't think it's a thing where, though it's like we deal with mental health as individuals, when we come together collectively and are able to talk about it and share it amongst each other, it just, you know, helps to destigmatize it. Because of course, like the Black community for forever, we've had stigma due to like slavery and all of these things, right? That we could get into on a deeper level another time. We don't got time, right? How we can get into
we can talk about that all day.
Right. We don't,
especially that man.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie.
He's fully pro-Black.
I be over here like Dr. Umar Johnson over here.
Listen, okay? Yeah.
And I learned a lot from him when it comes to that, but we listen now.
Yeah, and so that's kind of basically from there. I knew I wanted a guest-based show, so I started reaching out to people. I started emailing. I created a script with my information on it, my links, everything. Oh wait, side note, I missed a part. So after I graduated from undergrad, I went to SUNY Westbury. Shout out to OS. Shout out to OS. But after that, I interned at a radio station, right? So I was able to.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, so I was able to get that opportunity to intern at a radio station, and I had more practice with, you know, pre and post production. I was able to do editing. I was able to just do like radio stuff, right? And I feel like that also ignited more of the flame to do the podcasting thing. And then from there, I just started doing it on my own. I would record on my own, edit on my own, put it out, and then I just kind of wanted to just grow the brand, whatever. So started connecting with people, talking about people. That's the thing, just sharing, like, I have a podcast.
And that's the thing too, like, you said a lot of things about value. Yeah. That's one thing, even if a lot of people haven't heard, I'm not sure, but tell them where they can find you at for your podcast, because the last episode was crazy, and there was so much value when it comes to just understanding the normality of a woman's life. You know what I'm saying? Which I go through. So it was just so important.
And just doing normal checkups.
Yeah.
For sure.
Tell them where to find you at. Yeah.
Okay, so I am on most platforms. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple Pod. But if you guys, really the easiest thing would probably be to follow my Instagram and just click the link in my bio, and that would pull up everything. Like my link tree is in my bio, and that would basically show you everything. All of the links, all of the episodes is there. But yeah, it's Your Mental Matters podcast. You could Google that, search it up in Apple Pod, Spotify, whatever, and it should come up. And yeah, everything is there. But
she said, I'm on Google too, baby.
Yeah, the crazy part is I checked Google. I was like, if I put this in Google, is it gonna? It came up.
No, I gotta see if I still show still. I gotta see.
That shit come out.
But nah, just before I give my brother the floor again, I definitely just want to applaud you.
Thank you.
This because your victory sounds inspiring, you know, because at the end of the day, unfortunately for the unwanted demise of the partnership, you know, I'm pretty sure you didn't want that.
Yeah, I didn't. Nope.
At the end of the day, just having help is very it just takes a load off. Yeah. You know? So just aside from that, I just want to applaud you for just carrying it on and being consistent.
Thank you.
Like you were very consistent. And I definitely gotta applaud you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. But at the same time, I just want to tie my question and ask you, like, as far as your platform and expanding on the essence of it, help the Still Sharpn Still community understand the correlation between like your mental health and developing confidence. Oh yeah,
that all that's big, because like sometimes people have at least for me, I'll speak for myself, right? And people could relate to this or not. I think my confidence definitely developed over time, but that came from me me having to affirm myself. Like there's times where I didn't believe, or like I had self-doubt, or I just was like, dang, like, because that's the thing. And too, like when we talk about family, like depending on what type of background you come from, like there's a certain expectation, right? And if you're doing anything outside of that expectation, it's like, what you doing? Like, is that really what you want to do? Can you know?
Right.
And so it's a thing where those questions can come up in your own mind, right? And be like, is this what I'm really doing? Like, can I really do this?
You start to question yourself.
Right. So I think like self-doubt and like, you know, just not being sure if I could do it. I feel like I had to learn. I learned how to affirm myself and just tell myself like, you got this and you could do it, even if I didn't believe it, you know? But that's what affirmations really are. Like, even if you don't feel that way, just keep telling yourself that, and eventually you're gonna start to feel that way. Right. You know, like that's the bottom line. And now, like, there's nothing that nobody could tell me.
Talk about it.
There's nothing nobody can tell me.
You know what they be saying too? Like sometimes humility and being humble is kind of overrated. I heard it a couple times, a lot of podcasts and shit like that. But sometimes you gotta like stroke your ego. You gotta be like, listen, I am the shit. I can do whatever I want, and I can do all things. I try to tell my little brother that all the time. Like sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I'm not as consistent. But you know, when we wake up in the morning, I didn't have nobody to tell me, look in the mirror at yourself. Yeah. Like, and say, I can do it.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? That's important because, bro, they tell us all the time, be humble and sometimes, listen, man, we are all worthy. Yeah. So why not display that? You know what I'm saying?
They always want to humble black people though. That's the part. But we can get into that later.
We can definitely get that
we can get into that back later. But
let me ask you too, like, because we big on value. Yeah. A lot of people, since we started the podcast, they want to start podcasts. And,
for sure.
You know, life, you know, people, we're big on inspiration. Yeah. So, like, when it comes to you, what advice you would give somebody that was similar to you in college, that wanted to start off something new, that want to start off a brand, you know? For me, just learning from you, I feel like being consistent is gangster. So, but what would you give somebody that, like, what gem would you drop for somebody to, like, continue to go? Or just to start something? I would
say just start it. Like, even if you don't feel like... Because me, when I started my podcast, I mean, looking at it now, I was like, that wasn't it. Like, it was like I had a whole different name. I went through like 2 different names before I got to where I'm at now. So I think like that's one. Wherever you start is not where you're gonna end up. Right. So know that, and then also just start it. Like even if you don't have all the, and that's the thing with podcasting, I feel like you don't need to have the most savviest equipment, right? You don't need to have like. You don't have to like, eventually when you get to a certain place and you decide you want to upgrade or do whatever, you can. But just start with what you have. Yeah, just start it. Like me, like don't think too much. Like if you want to do it, just do it. Right. Like, yeah, because I don't think I really thought it all the way through when I started. I just knew I liked talking on the radio at my school, and so I just started my own show.
Right. And one thing I could say, like from watching the previous episodes of Your Mental Matters podcast. It's tough for me to remember things sometimes.
It's okay.
Understand that.
That's alright.
Alright.
That's alright.
But at the same time, I just wanted to say, just watching your previous episodes, one thing I can say about you more, you always talk about your passion of your mental. You know? Yeah. It's like you always say you're passionate about just bettering your forgive me, your safe spaces, you know, bettering the black success. You know, you always talk about that. So I understand you're very passionate about expressing yourself, you know, and being very vocal. So I just wanted to say, like, as far as just dealing with individual obstacles, you know, because life could be very pulling, and it could be very pulling. So just dealing with your individual obstacles, like, and creating the safe spaces that you do on your podcast, like, how do you, like, continue pulling in your audience, you know? Yeah. As far as, like, the safe spaces that you create.
Yeah, I think I just think about, like, I think about the times that we're in, right? Well, first I start off with, like, what do I want to talk about? Like, what things interest me? What do I feel like isn't talked about enough? Those are the avenues that I like to go down. Like, just when I did the women's health episode, I feel like women, like, we don't talk about that. Like, and there's reasons behind it, but I feel like there does need to be light shed on that. So for me, I think about, like, for one, the times that we're in, like, what's going on in the world. And then I also think about, like, what things aren't talked about enough. And then I just pull in the guests that I get. I think about like who would be good for this episode.
Right.
Like what do they care about? What do they talk about?
Right.
And then I kind of do research. I do background.
Necessary.
Yeah, and then that's how I pull it in to create those episodes or those spaces with set people.
And impact, and that's I love it.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's definitely amazing. The way you just line it up, you know, is organized beautifully. You know, 'cause at the end of the day, each part is impactful. You know, you do your research to see what's important.
Yeah.
You know, what's not talked about. You know, and then you look for the people that are in those lanes, you know, or that can even add value to that topic,
Right.
you know, and then you create the space to talk about it, you know, and it's like you do it multiple times. So I like how you create the spaces of your mental matters.
Thank you.
So no, I love it.
Shout out to you, and I wanna just ask you to ask yourself, you know, when you was 18, like what would you tell your 18-year-old self? What would you tell old Mo?
Talk about it.
What I tell Omo?
Especially where you at right now, you grew so much.
Yeah.
And like I'm thinking about that by myself. It's like I don't know what the hell I'll say, but what would you say?
Yeah, I'm thinking through it right now. I'm like, I would tell her a few things, but one of the things would be, don't be so hard on yourself. That's one, and to kind of like, I guess, lighten up.
Right.
Because I feel like at one point in my life I was super rigid, right? Like, I mean, depending on who you ask, they might still say that. But like, it's like lighten up, right? Like, don't take life is serious, right? There's so many things in life to be serious about, but those moments when you could just laugh and like chill out and just like not take things too seriously are the moments that I feel like are like super memorable, right? Because I feel like where I'm at now, the moments where I could just be like, let's like have fun, let's go do something, right? And just kind of take my mind away from like all of the structure and all of the rigidness and no, I gotta do this, no, I can't do that, no, like I feel like I was like that because of just like upbringing and how I was raised, which is not a bad thing.
It's not at all.
It's not a bad thing.
Being serious, life is serious.
Yes, but just
I think you're Caribbean, right?
I am.
Yeah, Jamaican, right?
I'm Jamaican.
Yeah.
They don't share that.
Yeah. I know.
Yes, I'm half Jamaican and half Haitian, so I
gotta black rice. Black rice. Yes.
I gotta represent. My family would, if they see this, they're gonna be like, so you're not Haitian? Yes, I'm both. I rep both. I'm 50-50. My mom's from Jamaica, my father's from Haiti. But yeah, so I feel like just to lighten up and like not to take life like balance. It's about balance. So that's what I would say. Like, like
absolutely.
Yeah, you have your whole life ahead of you. You're good.
But it's important to be serious as well.
Yes.
So you can definitely laugh and joke and bullshit.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta really be serious in what you in your craft.
Bottom line, me and my big bro always talk about it.
Line.
Bottom line. But I just wanted to add in something really fast I wanted to reference you.
Yeah? Something I said?
Yeah.
What is it?
Quote. It's a quote. I said, you made it, girl. You made it.
I'm like, what I said?
Nah, really and truly, it really touched me when you said, you heard it from someone else when you said, I am whole. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you? Help the Still Sharpn Still community understand I am whole. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I am whole. What that means is, like, I have everything I need, right? There's nothing that's outside of my being, my body, or that I have to get to like fill me up or fulfill me. Like, I'm already great. I'm already like, because there's some people who feel like they maybe, I don't know, for example, they need someone else to complete them, or they need this, if they had this thing, then they would feel complete. Right. And it's like, no, like, you have everything you need. Anything else is a bonus, right? Like, you're already that. You're already that. Whoever you want, whoever that future self is that you see, before you even get there, you already have that in you.
Right.
Like the millionaires and the people who are successful, they already was that before. That's how they was able to get to that plateau. So I feel like that's why now, like, affirming myself and feeling confident comes.
And it goes back to you saying nobody can tell you nothing because you have that faith.
Yeah, because we all listen. We bleed the same.
Yeah,
we all can do it. What's the difference? We all got that 24 hours. It's just the choices that we made to get us where we are.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, that's a fact. I love it.
Listen, season 4, that was amazing. Before we get out of here, you definitely mentioned where to find you at.
Yeah.
Tell them once again.
One more time.
Okay, you guys can find me Instagram at _Mo, MOLOU. That's my personal account, and the podcast page at Your Mental Matters Podcast _.
And make sure y'all give it a follow. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe on this episode. Go to her episodes, tap in with her. She has a lot of value when it comes to mental health to the black community. Season 4, we appreciate y'all.
You know the vibes, baby. We out of here.